Panthers are back in action tonight for a what seems like rematch with the Seattle Kraken. Of course, they just met not too long ago in Seattle. That was on Sunday. Now the Panthers will be at home in Emirates Bank Arena tonight on Tuesday, March 24th to take on that same Seattle Kraken team who is looking to find their way into the playoffs. What's up, Florida Panthers Daily? I am AJ Sheridan back here with you on a Tuesday with a little bit more energy than I did have yesterday. Of course, yesterday was just a sad day. I was trying to recover from my Florida Gators getting knocked out of March Madness, and it took it all out of me. But now we are back here in better. The sickness is getting a little bit better. That day off on Friday helped. So we're back with you as we do every single day right here, Monday through Friday on Florida Panthers Daily, part of the Fan Arch community. We'll be involving you later in the show with our player bracket, our March Madness style challenge here on Florida Panthers Daily. We'll talk about that game coming up with the Kraken in just a second, and also how cheap you can get into the stadium tonight to watch that game and how it compares to earlier in the year, and also take a look at some updates Coach Paul Maurice gave us yesterday at practice about some of the injuries that have happened to the Florida Panthers. My social medias are AJ Sheridan Radio if you want to give those a follow, or again, the subscribe button below right here on Florida Panthers Daily. Let's jump into it now. Tonight, the Panthers will take on the Seattle Kraken. That will be a 7 p.m. puck drop inside Emirates Bank Arena. These teams met not too long ago, like I said, on Sunday, and respectfully, it was ugly. It was a 6-2 win for the Seattle Kraken in that one, but since that game, the Kraken have lost 3 straight. They were in Tampa the night after they beat the Panthers. They lost that 6-2 right after they beat the Panthers 6-2. And then they've lost 2 games in a row on the road at Nashville and Columbus to start this road trip. So this Kraken are going to come in really looking for an edge in this game. And I think the keys for the game tonight, you got to really slow down the game a little bit if you are the Florida Panthers, missing a lot of players. Again, we will jump into the injuries a little bit later and kind of see how maybe that affects the way the Panthers want to play. But I think you got to slow down the game a little bit, limit the rush chances against a team like the Kraken tonight, who again are going to be coming out with their hair on fire, knowing that they do have to pretty much win this game. I mean, you would think where they are in the standings right now in the West, in the wild card race, the Kraken are, where are they? They are 2 spots out of that last wild card spot, 4 points behind the Predators. So that game the other night for them against the Predators was a big one. They lost it. I think they're going to come in with a lot to prove into Emirates Bank Arena tonight. It'll be a tough game for the Cats. Some more keys to the game. I think you got to get some odd man rushes in this game if you're going to find a way to win this game. And then you got to, as always, we seem to say this a lot, stay disciplined and stay out of the box. The Kraken's penalty kill is weak. So if you can get a man advantage, they only kill it at about 73%, the Kraken do. So let's get some man advantages and stay out of the box, because they do, when they're on 5-on-5, the Kraken do have a good 5-on-5 defense, and they will continue to do that tonight. Like I said, probably playing very aggressive. Panthers have a lot of injuries, so it could be a different style. You don't really know what Panther team is going to show up. But again, puck drop tonight at 7 p.m. inside Emirates Bank Arena for the Panthers and the Krakens. A rematch for what feels like it was just 2 days ago. And then I was looking at the schedule, and on ESPN, it'll kind of tell you what the prices are going for each game left for the Florida Panthers. And I was sitting here yesterday on the program right here on Florida Panthers Daily as we go Monday through Friday every single day. And I was like, whoa. I remember back over winter break when I was home and prices were expensive. The Panthers were still in the hunt. You win 3 straight Eastern Conferences. You win 2 straight Stanley Cups. You expect that to happen. South Florida is that type of market. I'm sure if you're watching here, you're probably also maybe a Heat fan or a Marlins fan, which those ticket prices, we won't compare those, but football's football, obviously. So more to the Heat, it's expensive. Teams want, the fans in South Florida want to see winners, and when you win, people will show up. But when you're not winning, and your season looks the way it looks right now, like it does for the Florida Panthers, they're going to drop. People are going to start coming. Now, I'm not saying the energy won't be rocking inside Emirates Bank Arena tonight, but it surely won't be like it was over December, even right before the Olympic break when the Panthers were fighting to get into the playoffs, maybe giving a little bit of grasp of hope for all their fans out there. So now I just want to run through and kind of look at the rest of the home games It kind of reminds me back in the day when I grew up. You could go to a game, 10 people for like $10 a pop, buy a ticket up in the upper deck, move down, sit wherever you want when no one would be there. And I'm not saying no one's going to be there, but the prices are a lot lower. This is according to the ESPN app. We'll look at the remaining home games for the Florida Panthers tonight. Low as $16. On Thursday night against the Wild, $22. If you have your calculator out, find the average because my phone's in the other room and I'm not going to stop this video here with you on Florida Panthers Daily. Now you move to the next homestand against Ottawa. Snowbirds maybe going back north. $14, the cheapest ticket you can get inside the building for that. And then Boston, you get a little bit of an outlier. It's Boston. You're always going to get a lot of Bruins fans in the building. $56 is the cheapest ticket, but still, $56 for the Bruins? A team the Panthers have been playing in the playoffs the last few years? It's low. That's really low. And then that is the second to last home game of the year because after that Bruins game on Thursday, April 2nd, the Panthers will then play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the road. Oh, I'm wrong. There are 2 more games after that. 5 on the road before the Panthers end the season with back-to-back home games back in Sunrise. That's on Monday, April 13th against the Rangers, which, again, it's the Rangers. They're not good this year. But you still expect it to be like, oh, it's New York. The teams are coming. Ticket prices are going to be pretty high. $33, the cheapest ticket for that as we sit here on Tuesday, March 24th. And then the last game of the year, Wednesday, April 15th against the Red Wings. A Red Wings team that's showing fight. We'll see. That game could be a big spoiler game if you are a Florida Panther fan to keep the Red Wings out of the playoffs for the first time. And we all know how long it's been. $20. 20 American dollars. One single bill that says 20 on it could get you into the arena for the final game of the year. And listen, I get it. You're not competing for the playoffs, which is why we're not sitting here focusing on the preview of tonight's game so much. We'll break it down tomorrow right here on Florida Panthers Daily as we do every single day, Monday through Friday. But why are we going to dive in and really lock in on some of these games when the Panthers are just not really in contention for anything? I'm going to get you ready for the game. I'm going to tell you what I expect to see in the game, which tonight could be a sloppy one, or I don't really know what to expect because there are a lot of injuries. But it's crazy. They were going for hundreds. A lower bowl at least. You want to sit down low over December, January? You're coughing up a good hunk of change. So if you're a Florida Panthers fan, maybe you haven't got to go to as many games because the ticket prices have been so high. This might be your time to do it in these remaining home games for the Florida Panthers because it probably is your best opportunity. And then here on Florida Panthers Daily this week, I've been doing it. It hurts. It still hurts with my Florida Gators getting knocked out doing this bracket. But down in the comments below, I want you to tell me who would win this bracket. Yesterday, we had Brad Marchand win what I call the defenseman bracket, the defenseman region. And again, this goes to who would win in a best-of-3 head-to-head shootout if Sergei Bobrovsky was in net. So I'm not going to have Sergei Bobrovsky on this list because he's going to be the goaltender in this. But today, we're going to go to maybe my favorite bracket. The Sam's bracket that I'll release tomorrow. I mean, I'm sure you can guess 2 people that'll be in our bracket challenge tomorrow. But let me know in the comments below who you have coming out of this region. It'll be Matthew Tkachuk, Anton Lundell, Luke Cunnin, and Seth Jones. So we got 3 forwards in this region, but Seth Jones can score the puck as well. Who do you think would advance? Tkachuk versus Seth Jones, Lundell versus Luke Cunnin. Who would advance in a March Madness style bracket between those 4 players and advance to our Final 4, which will be released here on Friday? Again, Matthew Tkachuk versus Seth Jones, Anton Lundell versus Luke Cunnin. Let me know in the comments below when you're scrolling down to hit that subscribe button down below who you would have winning that bracket. They will go on to face the winner of tomorrow's bracket, which I gave you a little tease. Tomorrow's bracket region is called the Sam's bracket. I'll tell you who the other 2 in that bracket are tomorrow on Florida Panthers Daily. Let's wrap up the show now, kind of getting some injury updates because there were a lot from practice yesterday. Of course, Nico Mikkola went down against the Flames the other night in what looked like a nasty injury. And yes, his season is done for the Florida Panthers. He does not have a stall in the training facility, so it maybe looked like it was going to be even worse. But the news was a little bit better. He is done for the year. He is out the rest of the year, Nico Mikkola. No surgery needed. It's a big sigh of relief if you're a Panthers fan, but 4 to 6 weeks. So his season is done. And then Uvis Balinkas, he has a fracture. He's also out 4 to 6 weeks. So the Panthers, who I have a stat for you, but they continue to be banged up. That stat, where did I put it here on my note sheet? Oh, brother. The stat, it was about injuries. I might have to give it to you tomorrow. I mean, you just look at the last game. You got out. Sam Skevich, Forsling, Lundell all out. We'll get more about who's out in tonight's game later on today. All right, well, I lost that stat for you, but it was the most games lost to injury from forwards this year. I don't know where the stat is. I'll retweet it. It'll be up on my Twitter again, at AJ Sheridan Radio. But let's get back to the injuries now. Nico Mikkola done for the year for the Florida Panthers. Of course, AJ Greer is suspended. We talked about that yesterday, and it was funny. It was funny. Coach Paul Maurice had to joke, like, we have to keep a spreadsheet to keep track of all the injuries this year. Uvis Palinkas and Nico Mikkola, again, out for the rest of the year. Reinhardt, he's testing today. More tests again tomorrow. That's from Maurice. He also said about Brad Marchand. Marshy has had his test, sent them to the doctor. Now he's doing a doctor tour. We'll get an idea of how we're going to rehab that hopefully in the next 10 days again. Most likely done for the year. And then Sam Skevich, he had a bad hit against the Oilers. He's now out at least 7 to 10 days. So I can't even keep track of my notes. I don't know how the Panthers are keeping track of all these injuries they are battling this year. I do want to end with one little quote Coach Paul Maurice said yesterday. He said, "We do all the right things. There's a future here. We're not in the tail end. We're in the middle." So we're dealing with all the injuries. It's been a rough year for the Florida Panthers, partially, mostly because of all these injuries. But we'll continue to update you right here every single day on Florida Panthers Daily. The subscribe button below. My social media is at AJ Sheridan Radio. Until tomorrow, Florida Panthers Daily, let's go Cats.